cell phones and nobody is to approach the dais. Chair, we are ready to begin.
All right, thank you, sergeants. Yes. Oh, sergeants, the clocks. Yeah. Okay. So as soon as he sets that up, anyone can start.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chair Sanchez and members of the committee. My name is McArthur Damas, and I'm a homeowner in Brooklyn. I live in a two-family home. I'm on the first floor, and my long-term tenants, they live on the second floor upstairs. I'm here to support Intro 948 because it protects homeowners like me who rely on home sharing just to stay stable in a very expensive city. For years, I responsibly shared my own unit with guests. This wasn't for profit. It helped me cover rising expenses while keeping tenants' rent below market value. When they asked for a rent reduction during financial hardship, home sharing made it possible for me to honor that and maintain an affordability for them. But Local Law 18, with the two guest limit and the requirement that I be physically present, has made it nearly impossible to continue. My bookings dropped, my supplemental income fell, and it's now much harder to sustain my home and keep rent stable for my tenants. Intro 948 restores balance. It allows responsible homeowners of one to two family homes, people who actually live in their buildings, to host short term guests without being physically present, while still meeting registration, safety, and occupancy rules. It stops bad actors without punishing residents like me. Home sharing is what helps me maintain my property, avoid raising rent on my tenants, and stay rooted in my community. Without this flexibility, many homeowners will struggle, and tenants could face increases or displacement. Intro 948 protects affordability, supports responsible homeowners, and strengthens our communities. I respectfully urge the Council to pass this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jeff Demise, native New Yorker, born in Brooklyn. I bought a home in the Bronx in District 14, that of Councilwoman Sanchez. Hello, neighbor.
Live on the block.
So I've been in New York for many years, and I've saved for decades to be able to afford to buy my very first and only home, two family home in the Bronx in District 14. And in doing so, I was able to help house a small family, a single mother, black single mother with a Down syndrome son. And it has been a pleasure to be able to be a landlord for them because they were like family to me. Sorry.
Take your time.
Okay. When I bought the home, shortly after, I had lost my job, and I was faced with having to figure out if I was going to keep the family in the house. And they're like family to me. Every Christmas, we exchange gifts, food, and I never intended to kick them out because of short-term renting when I had lost my job. I used Airbnb to supplement what I had lost. Sorry. But then after 8 months, I eventually found another job, which came with a 50% pay cut. But I chose that job because I'm in construction management. and I actually work with affordable housing. We build homes in the Bronx, in your district, and other districts in the Bronx. We build thousands of units per year, and I work with developers to provide housing for a multitude of people. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because I'm not here to destroy homes or get rid of housing for tenants. I'm here to build it. So I'm here. Almost done. Just 10 seconds. My phone keeps cutting off. I'm sorry. I was not expecting this. When I was doing Airbnb, I was not. It wasn't just to make a profit. I was sleeping on couches, renting out my house. I was sleeping in my cousin's house just so I can keep the house. And I was able to. But then when local law 18 came, now I'm faced with basically the same thing. It's like being fired again. So I'm in support of Intro 948. Help make New York affordable, not just for renters, but for homeowners too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alamgir Bhuyan. I'm from local 306 Hotel Trade. One time, I living here 40 years almost, New York City. I'm journalist. I work lot of visit for a lot of European country and lot of city. When I came to New York City, it's the best city, like my country city. I love the city. I don't want to some destroy the city. If a hotel industry backbone of the city, that people tourists not coming here is going to max, I believe. And after that, I believe is hotel industry save the thousands of employees and back the family, the kids, family, A and B. You want to try to my kids bread and butter take away. I'm not give away. As I fight as I can. This is my city, my kids born here, my family born here, so I don't want it. I want to, as you can, I'm fighting for hotel industries for them, not A and B. So please help us vote for no, no. I like to the city, and I'm stay this city. So please don't bring the criminal people here. You don't know who is the A and B, whose people is coming to here. Maybe criminal, maybe drug dealer, maybe killer. We don't know. And that people living in my house, no way. I fight for my life, for my kids, my family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jean Raleigh. I am a resident of District 50 in Staten Island. I am not getting paid to testify. My husband and I purchased our legal two-family home in 1987 when we first married. We had no children and rented our additional space for long term for 15 years until our growing family needed more room. I am here to ask this committee to vote yes on Bill 948A. Our three children are young adults now, returning for family gatherings. It is imperative to keep this space available for these family visits. Sharing our home with family versus having them rent a hotel room, of which there are few and far between in Staten Island. Also, single and two family homeowners like ourselves rely on home sharing for additional income. The cost of owning a home continues to rise, as we all know. However, our New York City pensions, while I am grateful, do not increase, except for an occasional COLA increase of $1.10. My husband, a New York City mechanic with the sanitation department, retired 17 years ago. taking a reduced monthly pension in the event he passed away, ensuring the mortgage for his young family could be covered. Without home sharing, it is nearly impossible to meet all our expenses. In conclusion, I am a native New Yorker, born and raised in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx. In the words of Alicia Keys, I'm embedded in this concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing I can't do except remain in my owner-occupied family home without home sharing. I'll be forced to sell my home, move down south, and get pickled by the sun. Please vote yes on Bill 948A. Thank you for your time and interest.
Thank you. Thank you so much to each of you for sharing your stories. You're Jeff. Jeff. Just thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for opening up about that, because it's really important for us to have the real life examples. So what happened to the family that was your neighbor?
They're still there. I'm not sure how long I can keep the house.
Gotcha. Thank you. MacArthur, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. So you are a homeowner. You live in the home,
Yes.
and you have tenants living in another part of the home, in another unit of the same
Above
home?
me, yes.
Above.
Yeah.
And you have been home sharing the unit where you live.
Yes, correct.
Got it.
Yes.
So you're the you're the just the kind of person that I certainly want to hear from about how you think these provisions would make a difference for you, since you're home sharing today and you've been present and compliant. So how would it change things for you to be allowed to not be home when you have Airbnb guests? How would the locks provision change the way that you run things and you set up your home? And would it make a difference to you to be able to be allowed to have more people stay in the home?
Absolutely. It definitely make a great difference with this with this adjustment to the current bill, because right now I'm trying my best to keep my tenants happy when it comes to the rent. Uh, they asked for rent reduction, which it was not easy to make that decision, but at the same time, uh, I still I made that decision because I I had the opportunity with being successful with the Airbnb, and it was a struggle to make sure that everything was in order when it came to the expenses in my home, and it came to like making sure that everything was affordable. The restrictions when it comes to the two guest limit, it brought down traffic when it came down to the Airbnb. It came down to how much am I going to be able to uh, make if I have only two guests versus having a possibility of having four guests. So having that increase makes a big difference, because when it comes to having uh, a family, a group of two versus a group of three or four, it makes a big difference when it comes to making more income, and I need that income, especially when it comes to my tenants. They're struggling to make ends meet. They want to make sure that they can afford their apartment, but at the same time, if I have the opportunity to make more income with the increased guest limit of four, that will help me keep their rent stable. And that's why I definitely am strongly in favor of Bill 948, as well as having the opportunity to have locks in place, so that way they ensure that they have their privacy. That's very important. And I go to work. I have a 9 to 5. I'm not always going to be present at the time, but this would help make sure that I can allow for them to be there and be comfortable, and at the same time not be so restricted with the current bill of local law 18.
Can I add something in support of what he said?
Okay.
In support of what he said, when it comes to locking the doors, people think we're locking the doors to create some type of hazard, but like there's a certain privacy as owners that we need. Like these are the same homes we keep our toothbrushes, our personal items, and sensitive information, social security numbers, and credit cards that's stored away in places that, yes, we welcome guests, but like he said, we go to work. We want to give them privacy, but we also want to give ourselves privacy. So I think that's what the support of this intro 948 is. And lastly, we're not when local law 18 came. It's not like my house became available. It's still my home. It's still my sheets. It's still my plates, my forks and knives. So it's not like now I get a new unit to rent. That's not really the case. So thank you.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Well, thank you, and especially thank you for your patience and rolling with the punches. Jeff, I would love to connect offline. Since we're neighbors. Okay, thank you so much. Shakira Crawford, Jean Sucktail, Esteban Giron, and Jador Bodie. And that one.
We're gonna fill up.
Yeah. And Winsome Pendergrass. Winsome. We're just trying to fill the 4 seats. Winsome, are you here? Sean Aird. All right. Whoever is ready can begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Jean Suklal, and I'm a resident of Queens, New York. I've been a resident of in Queens, New York for over 30 years in District 28. I'm also a proud member of HTC. Let's be clear, the only reason we are all here today is because Airbnb has spent millions of dollars on election and lobbyists to push these bills. It doesn't matter how much money they throw at organization to make it seem like they care about New Yorkers like me, they don't. They care about making money ahead of the World Cup. When millions of tourists come to New York, just like tourists do, Airbnb will come and go without giving a second thought to the damage they leave behind. We already saw what happens when Airbnb floods the city. Out-of-town investors buy up our homes to make mini hotels. Landlords realize they make more money with tourists than renters, which is not fair. And people who grow up have to move. If you wanted to help homeowners, you could help connect people to mortgage support programs or work to lower cost of groceries or keep home prices down. Instead, any city council member that support this bill is sacrificing the workers, renters, and homeowners that elected you in the first place. And you should be ashamed that this just about making sure a company worth $85 billion gets to make more money, and no amount of advertising is going to justify the action of you or Airbnb. Please stand up to this transparent and shameless power
you.
grab. Vote no to intro.
Thank you. You may conclude.
948.
You don't have
Thank
to leave. But you may conclude. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shakira Crawford, and I'm here to tell you to vote no on intros 948 and 1107. Shout out to the Bronx. Shout out to HTC. Before being a member of HTC, I lived in a shelter with my 3 children in Brooklyn and worked at a non-union hotel making $8 an hour. $8. Just imagine that. And I was doing multiple jobs. Being a member of HTC has changed my life for the greater good. Now, I have a home in the Bronx, a good paying job, and just this year, my daughter, which is the youngest, started at the University of Albany. Shout out to Albany. I also know how bad the conditions are for guests and workers at hotels that don't need to follow rules to keep us all safe. My hotel is required to follow fire safety rules, accessibility standards, labor protections, and tax laws. Short term rentals are an unregulated mess. They operate without most of those responsibilities. This bill would endanger guests and residents and put entire communities at risk of being disrupted and displaced to make room for out of towners. May I finish? Thank you. There are so many problems with these bills, and that's why we're here today, right, HTC? Opening the floodgates for Airbnb will take away the homes, jobs, and safety we all want. The City Council needs to put the safety of New Yorkers ahead of the needs of tech company that want to meet their bottom line. Thank you for hearing my testimony.
Thank
Vote
you.
no.
Thank you. You should turn off your mic so we don't get an echo.
Good evening. Good evening, Council. My name is Chador Bodie, and I'm here to tell you to vote no on intros 948 and 1107. Growing up in the Bronx, I've had the privilege to live in a multi-generational home. So it came from my grandparents to my mom and her siblings to me and my brother and to hopefully me and my family one day. Growing up in a community, I've always felt a sense of comfort. People that I knew to watch me grow up, who I've seen their kids grow up, and just a self of sense, knowing that that was my place that I knew that I wanted to bring my family to one day. However, with Airbnb and people trying to kick out people that I've known grow up my whole entire life, I don't think that's gonna be an option for me one day. Having to, having to once imagine my life where it was to one day not it being there because rent is going up, groceries is going up. We just had a SNAP benefit where people in my community wasn't even able to afford groceries and they're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, putting the kids through college. I had to go to college and my mom still had to work and provide for our household and she was a single parent. So those are things in my community that I feel that Airbnb shouldn't take away. There's things that I had the privilege of growing up with that other kids that come after me and kids that I want to one day have the same things. And that's why you should vote no.
Thank you. What part of the Bronx? Thank you. Thank you to this. Oh no, we have one more person. I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Sean Aird. I'm a Brooklyn resident and also a proud member of HCC Union. I've been a member for 11 years, and HCC has provided many things to me and all of my members as far as job security, um, health insurance, and if this bill is passed, it can take away a lot from us because once we lose occupancy in the hotels, they can lay off many workers, and we're already fighting to get so many workers back to work. Workers that's been pushed out by hotel owners that don't even want union workers in their hotels because they want to have cheaper labor, such as the Surrey Hotel. We're already fighting to get those workers back into their hotels, and it's so much of a struggle just to get the workers who's struggling now. And so imagine if we lose those workers who's working right now because Airbnb comes into it expands through the city, and we lose even more people in jobs. It's tough as it is right now. I know it's been said already that by some people that we're being used by lobbyists and also billionaires and hotel owners, but that's not true and that's not possible. Our union fights every day to make sure we get fair wages, and it's tough enough as it is, like I said, and it's just going to get harder.
Extra points. Thank you. Thank you so much to this panel. Appreciate your testimony. Thank you so much. So the next panel is going to be Kirsten John Foy, Stephen Hutchinson, William Gomez, Ryan McNamara, and Lamont Morris. And Philip Taveda, if you're here. Philip Tavada. Zuli Zheng. Shuli Seng. Jeanette Stanford. Joyce Mangold. We have 6 seats, so I'm trying to fill them up. Shema Wallace. Shema Wallace. Matthew Pritchard. Wow, okay. You are the strong that are surviving. Cecile Lay. We're in it together. Cecile Lay, Loretta Wootens. Really? Okay. Mark Anthony Mauricio. Viviana Pereira. Viviana. Jamiang Shu. Jean Louis Baptiste. Oh, okay. Michelle Sanchez, no relation. Latoya Hilton. Roger Alvarado. Paige Havener. Went already, okay. Chris Leon Johnson. And that is who we have signed up. So if you want to, right? Yes, we can clap. I'm not supposed to. That's who we have testifying in person. If you want to testify and you're here, please tell the sergeant so we can make sure to add you. And then we're gonna move to Zoom, so please.
Good evening, committee. My name is Joyce Spangle, and I'm a proud member of the union, Hotel Trade Council. I'm here today to urge you not to pass the bill that would expand the short-term rental. I watch firsthand what happened when short-term neighborhood where I grew up, and I work apartments that use the housing family were suddenly pulled off the rental market because landlord realized they could make more money renting to tourists for a few more nights at a time. And the people who paid price were overwhelmingly Black resident. I watched my friends, neighbor, and co-worker push out of rent, spike, long-term lease, disappear. We cannot call these harmless side hustle when they contribute to this displace and loss of black communities that built the culture of New York legislature, expand short-term rental without even put more pressure on neighborhoods that are already fighting to survive. Please vote no on Intro 948 and 1107. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. On the record, I used to be a former shop steward with 32BJ SEIU. I am here to show opposition to intros 948 and 1107, and I'm going to explain why. It's because of the fact that this bill does not cover squatter rights. And I'll make this clear that you can give people short-term rentals all they want, but if they not exploit the squatter rights, it hurts it hurts the property owners themselves, and it hurts the people that are seeking property themselves, because what happens, even if the landlord succeeds in getting that squatter out, they're going to no longer rent to people at all, not only to tourist tenants, people that live in the city too. I'll make this clear that when it comes to the unions, they're correct about how this it hurts the hotel industry, because there's a lot of jobs and mainly Airbnb, and a lot of property hotel owners want They want cheap labor because it's cheaper to have them and it's easy to fire. These days it's all about at-will employment, and they want to be able to fire everybody they can without no fight back. But I'll go back to this like 30 seconds left. Like I said, it's about the I want this bill to die. I'm surprised the speaker did jump off the bill because she's trying to save her butt from the slaughterhouse next year when it comes to trying to get a job in the Madonna administration. But I know that's what's going on. She's trying to save her butt. She don't want no unions oppose her trying to get a job in administration, especially to come to advice and consent under the next speaker. But I will make this clear. Like I said, let me end it right here. That this is I support killing these bills, but we got to make sure that the squatters don't have the luxury, the leverage when it comes to these bills. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, felicitarte por tu posición como presidenta del comité de housing.
Gracias.
Muy bueno. Y también exhortarte y pedirte que apoyes esta enmienda de ley, la 948A. Han sido 2 años que la ley local 18 se aprobó bajo la base de bajar los arrendamientos, ya que crearía más disponibilidad para inquilinos. El resultado 2 años después, al día de hoy, al año 2025, es que las rentas están más caras y lo que es más preocupante, las reposiciones, foreclosures, han sido en los vecindarios menos favorecidos. Número 2, la agencia HPD esta tarde nos dijo en conclusión que los arrendadores y pequeños propietarios de 1 y 2 familias están dentro de la misma categoría, vulnerables. Hablaron de programas que son accesibles, pero en la realidad su único fin es incrementar la deuda de esos pequeños propietarios, porque son préstamos que no pueden pagar su mortgage. Y si no puedes pagar tu mortgage, ¿cómo vas a poder pagar un préstamo extra que la misma ciudad te hace? Es imposible. O sea, es irrealista. La OSC, la Oficina de Special Informants de la Alcaldía, bajo Christian Klosner, que también testificó hoy, es una agencia policial posiblemente ilegal. La misma OSC que ha intentado traspasar y vulnerar derechos tan fundamentales como la privacidad de ciudadanos de nuestra ciudad. También el mismo Klosner afirmó que solo personas naturales se pueden registrar para poder hacer rentas temporales, no corporaciones ni LLCs. Y para concluir, la realidad, si no se apoya a propietarios de viviendas de 1 y 2 familias, pequeños propietarios, aprobando la ley 948A, será que las corporaciones que están detrás de todo este tema aprovecharán al sofocar a los pequeños propietarios comprando esas unidades en remates a un menor valor y así promover rezonificaciones que sirvan su interés y ganancia. Finalmente tendremos una ciudad donde la clase media nunca podrá tener algo tan fundamental y necesario como un hogar propio. Mi interrogante para ti y para todos los miembros del Consejo ¿es esta la ciudad que queremos para todos en el futuro? Donde solo seamos arrendadores y no seamos propietarios de esa pequeña ciudad.
Muchas gracias por su testimonio. Voy a traducir para el archivo de la reunión.
Muchas gracias.
I'm going to translate my best. Me dice si hay algo que digo mal.
Perfect.
But I'm going to translate for the record. Congratulations on being housing chair. Please support Intro 948. It's been 2 years since Local Law 18 was approved. Rents are higher, and what is more worrying is that foreclosures are up in disadvantaged neighborhoods. Small renters and small homeowners are in the same category as described by HPD earlier today. Want to mention that increased debts on homeowners don't make sense. If you can't pay your mortgage, how will you be able to pay a loan that the city is offering you to make repairs on your home? OSC is a police agency, but possibly an illegal one. They infringe on the privacy of homeowners when it is true that only natural persons can engage in short-term rentals. If we do not approve this law for 1 and 2 family homes, then the corporations behind all of this will take advantage of 1 and 2 family homeowners and promote
rezoning.
Rezonings, autocorrect. Me puso reasonings. Promote rezonings that support their earnings. Middle class middle class New Yorkers in the city will never be able to own a home? And is this a city that we want for all? Muchas gracias por su testimonio.
Sí, muchas gracias.
All right, my name is Lamont Morris, and I'm from the South Bronx, and I would like to yield my time.
Thank you, Lamont. Do you want to save your for or against? Thank you.
Good afternoon or good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you for your durability and your diligence. I have come to speak in opposition to Intro 948 and 1104. In 2022, Local Law 18 established the right balance between homeowners' rights and city housing needs. I fought to establish that balance, and I remain proud that I did so. That balance we established has allowed for the responsible and accountable growth of home sharing and expanded the market for home sharers in a reasonable, profitable, and quantifiable manner. These proposed laws, Intro 948 and 1107, would upset that proper balance and catastrophically redefine housing, not just for home sharers, not just for renters, but for all New Yorkers, pitting one large group of working class New Yorkers against a smaller group of working class New Yorkers, and this regressive change would incentivize the removal of housing stock and repurpose it for commercial enterprise that erodes both housing stock and unionized jobs. We have to protect workers, renters, and new home sharers. These regressive changes ask the most vulnerable workers in our city to bear the brunt of convergence of unaffordable housing costs and the shrinkage of good-paying unionized hospitality jobs. Women, primarily women of color, single mothers, immigrant workers, and those already on the precipice of food and housing insecurity will now have to work harder and longer to stay in the city they love and serve, and they cannot currently afford. We are asking our loyal, capable, and dedicated unionized workforce to compete with leisure travelers and tourists for beds and baths. This is immoral and economically unsustainable. We can have it all. We can have a vibrant and affordable city, record tourism, and a strong working and middle class of homeowners and renters if we maintain an appropriate balance of the three. But MAGA tech and MAGA landlords want us to believe that we must choose and have us fighting one against the other. These changes would inadvertently hurt home sharing growth by concentrating capacity in legacy home sharers, giving them a competitive edge over potential new home sharers. We have to defend the sanctity of tenant protection. This law would incentivize an end run around the strongest tenant protection laws in the country by trading long-term housing for short-term hospitality. New York City's affordability mandate. In this most recent election, New Yorkers have established a mandate around affordability, housing and otherwise. This regressive change would fly in the face of that mandate. New Yorkers want more affordable housing, not more hotel capacity. Affordability is not just about the availability of housing, but also of a strong, vibrant, and dynamic unionized workforce that has the ability to afford the rent in the city. They're playing a divide and conquer game. While there is certainly merit to the argument that homeowners of color need relief, that relief should not come at the expense of tens of thousands of workers and millions of New Yorkers who have been priced out of New York City ownership and rental marketplaces. The scarcity paradigm that juxtaposes working class homeowners against working class renters is emblematic of the MO of the billionaire class and mega landlords. They say let them fight among each other. We've got to protect progressive housing laws against a MAGA incursion. Finally, as a social justice activist who fought for homeowners' rights and fought to make the city respect them, I am incensed at the reversal of the values of Airbnb. Once a progressive tech giant who believed in supporting our immigrant communities and the democratization of hospitality is now a MAGA tech company pushing and financing the values of a tyrannical regime that wishes to destabilize communities of color and immigrant communities through nefarious and insidious family separation and deportations, and now looks to infuse those fascist values into our housing laws, further destabilizing our communities. This time by appropriating the pain of middle-class working homeowners and weaponizing it against renters and unionized laborers. We cannot afford to allow a MAGA tech company to rewrite our housing laws to their narrow commercial benefit. We cannot harm the many in the name of helping the few. That is the very definition of fascism we currently resist here in New York and around the country. Don't let Donald Trump's tech minions inflict further economic violence on our people through death by 1,000 little affordability cuts.
Thank you, Mr. Foy. I I want to give you a moment to talk about, just for everyone's context, your background, the work you've mentioned, some of it in your testimony, but the work that you've been doing at Arc of Justice, at National Action Network before that, and government before that, just to give that context of where you are coming from.
Well, I appreciate that, Madam Chair. I've spent my life as a social justice activist and public servant. I, as you mentioned, worked both in government, in state government, and in city government. I have worked for the National Action Network, which is a prominent national organization, civil rights organization, and now run the Arc of Justice, which is a national civil rights organization. I stood by Airbnb initially when they wanted to establish home ownership sharing in New York City, because I believe homeowners should have the right to determine their own destinies. There was not an appropriate balance. There was not an appropriate system. There was not an appropriate regulatory regime that would allow for homeowners to become home sharers without harming renters. Local Law 18 established that balance. And in fact, we have seen home sharing grow year to year in a responsible way. We have seen home sharing grow as a market. We have seen them add to the value of our economy. But what these proposed laws would do is an overreach. They would extend not just the profitability motive, they would harm the current tenant protections and housing laws that we have by redefining housing, fundamentally redefining housing. That is a vast overreach. We have to protect both homeowners who share and renters who rent. And this paradigm of we either have to protect homeowners who want to share or we have to protect renters is a false paradigm. We can be creative enough to both invest in our homeowners, provide them relief. We have the money, we just do not have the will. And we can provide relief, affordability relief, for those who are renting and those who are owning. And that's why I believe that we should not, you should not support these two bills, because they create they sustain a paradigm of divide and conquer. They continue to inflict economic harm on renters in the name of helping homeowners, and that's immoral.
Thank you, Mr. Foy.
Can I add something to that?
Please.
First, with all the respect on your words, and I respect all your trajectory and everything, I'm not a MAGA owner. I only own one house. Second, 948 doesn't take away the registration process.
Just make sure that you direct all comments to me,
okay.
not anybody else in the room, okay?
948 doesn't take the registration process away from small homeowners. That is still in place. And I get everything, the comments about Airbnb. I'm not affiliated to Airbnb as a homeowner. I am a small homeowner who is only claiming to have the rights in my property, in my family property, actually. So I would like to add those comments to the public, and everybody's voice can be heard, but we gotta be very specific and not mislead the rhetoric and the reality. One thing is the big corporation. The thing we're asking for here is 1 and 2 family homeowners that are separate from the rest of the housing stack, and the HPD recognized that during the afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes. I just want to acknowledge that this privilege is because this is the last panel in person. Because we were, I'm very. Didn't I do good? Yeah. Okay, Mr. Foy, and then we're gonna go to Zoom.
Thank you.
testimony.
I appreciate the precarious position you're in as a homeowner, and I'm not ascribing
Sorry,
Airbnb's
just
values
Mr.
to.
Foy,
I am not ascribing Airbnb's values to any particular home sharer who is on the platform. What I am saying though is that platform is exploiting both his pain and the pain of the renter by saying that in order to fix your problem, we have to fundamentally redefine what housing is for everybody else. And irrespective of what the consequences are on that larger population of people who are hurting, we're going to appropriate the pain of the smaller population of people who are hurting. I'm not invalidating the pain on either side, but what I am saying is when it comes down to numbers, we're talking about scale here, and the scale of renters and working class families that would be harmed by this aggressive change out by several orders of magnitude outperforms any benefit that would be ascribed to homeowners and home sharers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too, brother.
Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you, Madam
Thank you to
Chair.
this panel. Yeah. Thank you. And of course, thank you everyone who attended. We're gonna move over to Zoom. I have do you have the script? I have a script to read. But I just wanna say out loud, especially to the folks who are still here in the room, if you're still watching, thank you for hanging in there with us. You know, I stated my piece. I think the council members stated our piece up in speak with the sergeants. If there's anybody else who wants to speak, absolutely, because I don't know your name by looking at you. So just tell the sergeants and we'll bring you right up, okay? Yeah, you have to fill out a slip, and then I'll bring you right up. And while that happens, I just, I think it might feel like we're not reacting to your testimony as you give it, but that's to keep the hearing moving, and because many of us have stated our piece and we've asked our questions, and many of you are answering it as you're answering our questions as you testify, and so we just try to keep the flow going. It's not because of a lack of interest. It's not because we agree or disagree with anything that you're saying. It's because it's your time to shine, and we don't want to take away from that time. So I'm going to read a script for our Zoom participants. Again, if you want to testify in person, please let the sergeants know. You have to fill out a slip, and then we can hopefully all go home to our kids and families. Calling up Kieran McDonald. Calling up Kieran McDonald. Please begin when ready.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Committee Council, Chairwoman. My name is Kieran McDonald, and I'm a proud member of HCC. I'm here today to urge you not to pass this bill. I'm personally, in the past, was affected by it, being in my community. Apartment has used families and suddenly pulled them out of rental markets because of landlords. And people who paid the price were overwhelming Black residents. Because I was around, I watched my friends, neighbors, and coworkers pushed out renters, spiked long-term leases, contribute to the displacement of lost and Black communities that build the culture of New York City. Legalizing and expanding short-term rentals would put even more pressure on neighborhoods that are already fighting to survive. Please vote no. And as I have more time, you brought up something earlier about Airbnb focusing on the host. In 2017, I had a christening, and it was just going to be family members, like 4 or 5 of us, and we were looking into a place with a pool because I rented an apartment, so I just needed facilities, and I kept applying to host. Most of them look white, and I kept applying and I kept applying, and I kept hearing no, 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 no. So my fiance at the time was Asian, so I said, you know what, you apply. She applied and she got accepted. So I've never booked an Airbnb after that. So this for me is personally.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
if
for
there's
sharing that story.
anybody in here from Airbnb, I just want to tell you, I've been paying my taxes in the city for 21 years. I worked in hotels, I worked for non-union hotels, and I know the benefit of being in a union hotel. I have 3 kids. I have a 16-year-old that's going to be accepted to college early. I have a 6-year-old that's going to private school, and I pay daycare for a 2-year-old. So to discriminate against me, I felt personally hurt, and I just want to tell them that you are wrong. And I know there's disparities there. If they would only research it, but they care nothing to research it to understand, and I know what they're doing. People like don't look like me in my community owns the houses we rent.
Thank you.
I'm both a renter and a homeowner, so I know the difference.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that testimony. Airbnb, you keep getting follow-up, so please let us know how you screen for any racial discrimination by hosts themselves. In your follow-up testimony, thank you. Okay. Going once, going twice, okay, folks in the room? We will now turn to remote testimony. Once your name is called, a member of our staff will unmute you and the Sergeant at Arms will give you the go ahead to begin. Please wait for the Sergeant at Arms to announce that you may begin before delivering your testimony. Alicia Spears.
You may begin.
Good evening, everybody. I just will be real quickly. I just want to state that this is not a homeowner's problem, like the gentleman said before us. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With the city, yes. The ADUs, the basement attic apartments, more of the homeowners. What must we endure? We have enough. That was already passed. Home people of colors, lower the taxes. You're worried about that? Nobody's addressing why we having this issue. The taxes, the water bill, the utility bills. That's why we're losing our homes. And we already know about the deed theft. But of causations, nobody wants to address that. Again, if Airbnb is so concerned with all those millions of dollars, take it and let them help them calculate, since New York City claim they don't know how to calculate the taxes properly, so that we in our areas who pay the highest taxes, people of color, can be fairly adjusted and fairly pay taxes. Because somebody living near the water is paying less than us. Conveniently, they don't know how to do calculations of taxes. Enforcement, Jamali Williams mentioned it. I'm talking fast, I'm sorry, because I want to finish, and I know you guys want to go home. If you want to do some enforcement, just like with the cannabis, there's no enforcement. We got cannabis places all over, and we having issues. And our children are having issues. They're getting a hold of these weeds. I don't care what nobody said. Just like with the scooters all over the place. Nobody's taking the statistic of how many people are
Thank
being
you for your
harmed.
testimony. Your time
But
has
thank
expired.
you. Department of Buildings.
Thank you so much, Ms. Spears, for your testimony. The next person is Arlene Schlesinger.
Begin. Arlene, you may begin.
Barbara Larkin.
You may begin.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having this hearing. Thank you, Madam Chair. As a retired teacher and a New York City homeowner since the 1970s, I urge the council members to vote against 948A and 1170A for the safety and security of my neighborhood and others like it, many of whom are comprised of our most vulnerable, seniors like myself, who have lived in homes they worked so hard for decades. Many just want to live out their last days in these homes, in these 1 and 2 family neighborhoods. But they are afraid.
It went right over me.
They are afraid. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so they are afraid that the property values are going to plummet because of these bills possibly being passed. Their biggest fear is that speculators will scoop up their neighbors' homes for fear they're going to turn them into mini hotels without any supervision. So I ask you, council members, all, how do you wish your legacy to read? That you created possible crises we so often accuse Washington of creating? Or do you wish to be
Thank you
remembered
for
as
your
a well
testimony. Your time has expired.
with a moral compass?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barbara. I'd like to call Arlene Schlesinger again. Arlene?
Thank you very much. Thank
Yes.
you very much for going back to me. Good evening, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Arlene Schlesinger, and I'm the Vice President of the Hollis Hills Civic Association in Eastern Queens. I'm here to express my strong opposition to Intro 948A. Our 1 and 2 family neighborhoods have already under tremendous pressure with the City of Yes and not yet passed ballot proposals. Local Law 18 finally gave New Yorkers a sense of stability by shutting down illegal short-term renters and turning real apartments into long-term, returning them to the long-term market. This bill would undo all of that and open the door to something none of us would ask for. Subsidizing income on 2 units is not perfect, but that's what it says on Local Law 18. Different from using your home and your neighborhood as for profit nature. Under Info 948, a 1-family home could rent out 4 separate rooms every night to 4 different groups of people, and a 2-family home could rent out to 8. And the owner would not even have to live there. That's not home sharing. That's hotel operating in the middle of a residential block. I question the safety for seniors and other people, and no one has talked about the parking issues that this would cause for fellow residents. It's no better than Airbnb. Once you allow this by inviting hedge funds, investors, and absentee owners to start buying up homes and running them as commercial businesses, family will not be able to compete.
Thank you for your testimony. Your time has expired.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Arlene. The next panelist is Christine Yanis Les.
You may begin.
George Schneiderman.
George, you may begin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, council members. I am here to ask that you vote yes on Bill 948A as a first step in helping New York City homeowners by relaxing restrictions on short-term rentals in owner-occupied multifamily homes. I'm testifying on my own behalf and wrote my own testimony. I am not being paid or otherwise compensated for this. More than 20 years ago, my wife and I purchased a 2-family house in Harlem. We have lived in it ever since, raising our 3 children here. Now we find ourselves at a point in our lives when we want more flexibility in how we use our garden level unit, which we have furnished for the purpose of hosting family members and friends. Our parents are getting older and experiencing the usual challenges of aging. All of our children are now adults. While none of them is yet in need of a longer-term apartment near us, we want the flexibility to be able to accommodate that when the time comes without first having to force out a tenant. And we also want to be able to accommodate them for short to medium-term visits, as well as other friends and family members and the family members of our many friends in the neighborhood who have expressed interest in such an arrangement, especially when they have family visiting for religious holidays and major life cycle events. New York City's current restrictions on short-term rentals and 2-family homes make that effectively impossible, since we depend on rental income to help pay the mortgage and other building expenses and cannot afford to keep the apartment empty most of the time. The apartment is part of our family's home, and it isn't right that we cannot use it in the way that would best accommodate our family's needs. Thank you for listening to my testimony today. And again, please vote yes on 948A to support New York City homeowners.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your testimony. Okay. The next panelist is Henry Euler.
Henry, you may begin.
Thank you. My name's Henry Euler. I'm the president of the Auburndale Improvement Association, which is a civic organization in the Auburndale section of Flushing and Western Bayside. I'm opposed to Intro 948-A. I fear that it will have a negative impact on the stability, security, and safety of my community. The part that's really very scary to me is that the owner or host does not need to live at the site of these short-term rentals in 1 and 2 family areas. And so it would be that the supervision of the units would not be very good. The enforcement of regulations would not be there. There's also issues with the infrastructure and parking issues. Now, my grandparents and my father were immigrants, and my mom was first generation, and I am a native New Yorker. And at that time, they worked very hard. They didn't speak English, any of them, and they worked hard, and they managed to, grow along, be able to buy a home after a while, and live the American dream. And it's sad that
Thank you for your testimony. Your time has
Okay.
expired.
I'll send in written comments too. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry. Next up is Kevin Wolf.
Kevin, you may begin.
Thank you and good afternoon, Chair Sanchez. My name is Kevin Wolf. I'm the Deputy Director for Advocacy at the Center for New York City Neighborhoods. We are one of the largest homeowner nonprofits in the city, and we focus on assisting New Yorkers at all stages of the homeownership journey, from first-time home buying to home repair to landlord-tenant mediation through our Black Homeownership Project. We understand that the intent of Intro 948A is to balance the rights of the homeowners who want to responsibly rent their homes on the short-term rental market with the city's need to protect neighborhoods and maintain access to affordable apartments. By allowing registered hosts to rent up to 4 guests, clarifying that hosts may not need to be physically present, and allowing permanent residents to lock their private spaces, but have access to the rest of the dwelling. As the council considers 948A, we would like to see it amended to require that a portion of the revenue from short-term rentals be directed to the already existing city-funded programs for foreclosure prevention and landlord mediation that help keep families in their homes and stabilize neighborhoods. I urge the council to find a common sense solution that strikes the right balance between preserving long-time homeownership and promoting safe, legal short-term rentals, and also investing in programs that protect New Yorkers from foreclosure. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, we have Laura Spalter.
Laura, you may begin.
Good evening. I comment on behalf of the Broadway Community Alliance, a volunteer civic association in North Riverdale. Our unique sections of 1 and 2 family homes coexist among high-rises in our diversified neighborhood. Do not amend New York City's Building and Administrative Code in order to expand short-term rentals in 1 and 2 family homes without the owner even living there. This bill will incentivize large-scale investors, private equity firms, hedge funds, etc., to buy up private homes not to live in, but for commercial gain through transient rentals. Homeownership brings stability to our blocks and neighborhoods. The transient nature of commercialization by corporate landlords will destroy residential character and quality of life. You won't even know who your neighbors are. The city must preserve our precious housing stock for permanent homes for New Yorkers, not tourists and other transients who have no stake in the community. This bill is not about helping homeowners cover their mortgage. Do not allow pressure from the relentless short-term rental industry to dismantle our long-held legal protections. We urge the Committee on Housing and Buildings to vote no on Intro 948A. Thank you. And please repeat the email that we could send in our testimony.
Testimony.council.nyc.gov. Thank you, Laura.
Testimony@council.nyc.gov.
.nyc.gov.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. Linda Ortiz. Linda Ortiz.
Linda, you may begin.
My name is Linda Ortiz. I'm a homeowner in District 8 in the Bronx. I'm here to implore you to vote yes on Bill 948A. I'm not paid to be here. For me, home sharing in my space is not merely an option, it is a necessity. I have seen and heard online comments suggesting you shouldn't bite off more than you can chew, as if I were living beyond my means. But that is simply not the case. I did everything right. Born and raised in the Bronx and raised in Nycc, I'm educated by the New York City public school system. I'm a CUNY alum. I dedicated over 20 years to federal service, worked hard, and bought my house in the Bronx with the stability that my job provided. Yet, after 2 decades as a civil servant, my federal agency at the U.S. Department of Justice was eliminated, leaving me unemployed through no fault of my own. For the last 4 years, I rent the second unit to a wonderful Latina who works in a local garment factory. I was able to subsidize her rent through home sharing. This summer, I had no choice to raise her rent, a clear and unintended consequence of Local Law 18. How much has the hotel industry profited since Local Law 18? Home sharing is a way I can continue to afford living in the Bronx and hopefully find another job. I shouldn't have to sell my home. I am deeply committed to my community. I participate in neighborhood cleanup projects, of which Speaker Council Ayala has sponsored, bid and local merchant association initiatives. I helped bring attention to the issues at St. Mary's Park, and as a direct result, the park was awarded a multi-million-dollar infrastructure overhaul. That was not the work of an outside organization or hotel industry, but me, a homeowner dedicated to helping the Bronx. Responsible
Thank
home
you for your
sharing offers a
testimony. Your
life.
time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Maria Cates.
Maria, you may begin.
Maria Cates.
My name is Maria Cates, and I'm asking the committee to support Bill 948A. I live in my home, and it's a two-family house in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, with my daughter. I'm an immigrant and a single mother and have no other family. I'm elderly and hard of hearing with 80% hearing loss. 5 years ago, I suffered a debilitating stroke and have never fully recovered. I now live with limited mobility, extreme fatigue, and other complications that prevent me from holding a traditional job. To stay afloat, I share my home, and it's the only way I can support myself. This is my primary residence, my home, not a business. Our home has been a lifeline, our only means of financial stability, and a way to stay in the community we love. Without short-term rental income, I will have to apply for government assistance. And ever since LL18, my income has suffered dramatically. I can no longer to pay my bills. And I want to make it very clear, this has nothing to do with Airbnb. We're just real people, and we have real struggles, and we pay real bills. It's just one of the platforms. That's it. Our home is not suitable for a long-term rental. It houses our family. Treating small homeowners like wealthy landlords is unfair. We're being subjected to enforcement designed for large apartment buildings with actual long-term tenants, not for families simply trying to survive. Illegal hotels remain illegal. This bill does not change that. Yet currently, small homeowners are being
Thank you for
treated
your
like criminals
testimony. Your time has expired.
and seen as bad actors. This is just wrong.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. Thank you for your testimony. Sadio Jonas.
You may begin.
Hello. Thank you, council members. I'm gonna skip part of my testimony. I've already submitted it, so you can read like the first part, um, which talks about caring for our elderly parents, which means that our houses are absolutely not part of the housing stock at all. So I'm gonna read the rest of my testimony. In immigrant communities like ours, caring for elders isn't optional, it's cultural responsibility. We also provide temporary shelter for newly arriving relatives who need place to land, which directly reduces the burden on city services. These collective realities are why removing the ability for us to do home sharing has not increased the amount of places, one or two family homes available for long-term rent. Our homes were never part of the available housing stock, as it's referred to. Another aspect of my personal story and my personal reality is that small homeowners like me and my husband cannot afford to operate as long term landlords in this city. It actually costs money to be a landlord in the city. Being a landlord here requires bringing homes into compliance, maintaining reserve funds, often in excess of 20% of annual rent, just to meet. To stay compliant, to cover repairs, to meet legal responsibilities. Utilities for one and two family homes in our area routinely reach over $15,000 a year, and basic maintenance for older homes like we have is
Thank you for your
constant.
testimony. Your time has expired.
Thank you, Sadio. You may submit your testimony. I think you said you already did, but thank you for your testimony, and we'll be looking out for that. Sandra Sanchez Muller.
Sandra, you may begin.
Victor Marrero.
Can you hear me?
Sandra, yes.
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you. Good evening, Chair. I'm going to speak very quickly. Our names are Joseph and Sandra Sanchez Muller, and we lived in community in council members Kevin Riley 12 district in the Bronx. But we found it difficult to maintain our home for over 40 plus years because of the impact of local law 18. No one has paid us for this testimony. We want our voices heard as we feel it is important for the city to realize the loss of not only its constituents, but also its residents and the lifeline that supports all of its communities. As homeowners, we felt privileged to be able to forge ahead with the possibility of being able to provide for ourselves. As we graciously welcome guests into our home, so did the commercial businesses in our local communities. Even the MTA, for which we provided our guests with maps on how to get around in the city so that they can also tour and see the city sites and landmarks. Everyone benefited. Likewise, it provided an opportunity for tourists to experience the diversity and the congeniality of all New Yorkers. Much of this is lacking now. Local Law 18 caused a domino effect where many local small businesses are also struggling. We had a lovely two-family home where my parents raised me and my siblings. We raised our own children. We were never landlords. Home sharing was supposed to be a tool to help us afford our home on our fixed income. Unfortunately, local law 18 made it impossible for us to remain in the Bronx, and we had, sadly, to sell our home and leave New York. The
Thank you for
decision
your
to leave.
testimony. Your time
Can
has
I,
expired.
Chair, can I please finish, Chair, please? Can I
Yes, Ms.
please
Sanchez,
finish?
please conclude.
Thank you. The decision to leave New York was a difficult one. It is our hope that the voices of our fellow homeowners are truly heard. This is about helping hardworking homeowners stay in their homes. These are New York residents who provide home sharing services, stay in their homes. As a means to survive, the New Yorkers should not have to be forced out of their beloved homes and their communities because of an overly broad law that keeps them from the income and the home that they need to maintain. Please help pass the 948A bill so that no other residents or constituents are lost. Thank you kindly for the opportunity to speak to this council.
Thank you, Sandra. The next panelist is Victor Marrero.
Victor, you may begin.
Hello, good evening. Council, me and my wife own a home here in Brooklyn, Fort Greene, and we are for the bill. If it's all right, I wanted to give my wife my time to be able to say a statement.
Good afternoon. My name is Erica Andino Marrero. I'm a Brooklyn native of 43 years, and my husband and I are raising our 3 deeply rooted Brooklyn babies right here in our family home. I want to point out that Council Member Hudson asked earlier, HPD couldn't give clear numbers on how many 1- and 2-family homes were actually affected by Local Law 18. The data being used to justify this law is based on guesses, not evidence. And that matters because those guesses are hurting real families like mine. Council member Riley also asked whether HPD has studied how the law impacts Black and brown homeowners. They haven't. That tells me the communities being most affected weren't truly considered. I want to be clear. My family isn't against regulation. We agree with owner-occupied requirements. We followed every rule. It took me 8 months to get certified legally. But we are not a corporation. We are a homeowner household. We're a small business, and short-term renting our extra space is what helps us stay afloat in this economy. Increasing the amount of guests we're allowed to host would actually help us keep our long-term rental more affordable for the tenant living in our home. This is how families like mine create stability while also
Thank
supporting
you
our
for your
community.
testimony. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Marrero family. Thank you for your time. The next panelist is Walter Mugdan.
Walter, you may begin.
Walter, if you're speaking, you appear to be on mute.
Sorry, I apologize. My name is Walter Mugden, president of the Westmoreland Association, representing a community in Northeast Queens. Our neighborhood is primarily residential, with mostly single-family homes and a number of multifamily homes. We strongly oppose Intro 948A. It would permit short-term rentals for as little as one night. It would allow rental of up to 4 rooms in a one-family house and up to 8 rooms in a two-family house. And these rentals can be to unrelated individuals. Most concerning, the owner need not be present during rentals, and the house need not be exclusively or even primarily for the owner's permanent residential use. That distinguishes it from a lot of the people you've heard about here today who have legitimate concerns. Homes under this regime will become de facto hotels. Houses will be purchased by investors whose objective will be to maximize rental occupancy and income instead of by families who want to make the community their home. This is in direct opposition to the objectives of the current and future city administration to increase the amount of affordable housing. This bill would have the opposite effect. It would take housing stock out of the market for actual residential use and convert it to hotel space. By making houses lucrative for use as a hotel instead of a residence, it'll drive up the prices of the remaining homes in the community, further undermining efforts to retain and expand affordable housing. The bill applies to 1 and 2 family homes, but we can safely assume that if it passes, the proponents will be back soon with efforts to expand the rules to apply to higher density zones. We urge the committee to reject these bills. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Walter. Again, I want to call Christine Yanis Les. Christine Yanis Les. We see you on the Zoom. You must not hear us. Okay, we'll go to the next panelist. Glenn DiResto. Everybody's Latino when you're in my hearing.
Glenn, you may begin.
Hi, thank you. My name is Glenn DiResto, and I'm a third-generation resident of the Rockaways and not being paid by the union hotel industry to be here. I deeply understand the dynamics of the Rockaway community, and as a former small business owner, the struggles that prevent the Rockaways from reaching its full potential. Since the passing of Local Law 18, which was basically a de facto ban on short-term rentals, local small businesses across the Rockaways have been struggling with the loss of tourism money that flowed into our local economy. The rising cost of labor, insurance, and commercial rents has also added to the struggle. How is the local economy in the largest urban beach town in America supposed to thrive when there is only one hotel? Show me another urban beach town in America that doesn't depend on tourism dollars, that doesn't allow short-term rentals, and that only have one hotel to meet the tourism demands. Allowing short-term rentals would greatly help struggling small businesses in our beach town. There should be no reason not to correct the unintended consequences of Local Law 18. Since Local Law 18 was passed, rents have not gone down, they've only gone up dramatically. The only thing Local Law 18 did was make the hotels far more expensive. Remember, short-term rental hosts must first register with the city. There should be no reason to oppose owners of 1 and 2 family homes from doing short-term rentals. I ask that you pass these laws, but if you have deep concerns about some of the problems that could be caused by these short-term rentals, I ask that you
Thank you
make
for your
simple
testimony. Your
amendments
time
to
has
address those
expired.
concerns that you have. If I may, just one more paragraph, please.
Thank you. Please
Maybe
conclude.
just allowing one registration per person, not allowing corporations or LLCs, or possibly even making the Rockaways part of a pilot program. I thank you. A vote of yes on short-term rentals, making any amendments to make this a possibility for all New Yorkers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we'll call Joanna Vu.
Joanna, you may begin.
Joanna Vu. Christine Yanis Les. Christine? Christine? Okay. If we have inadvertently missed anyone that has registered to testify today and has yet to be called, please use the Zoom raise hand function if you are testifying remotely, and you will be called in the order that your hand has been raised. If you are testifying in person, please speak to the sergeants. Maria Curi. Maria Curi.
Maria, you may begin.
Unmute. Good evening. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm actually driving, so I wanted to make sure that I'm projecting.
Please be safe.
Good evening, and thank you so much to the chairwoman, Council Member Sanchez, and to the rest of the committee. I'm Maria Curie. I'm the Chief Executive Counsel for the Dominican American Chamber of Commerce. We actually represent many hundreds of small businesses, obviously in the Washington Heights community area. And we actually proactively did a survey. I mean, our testimony is presented to you and the survey information has been handed to you. But mostly I speak on behalf of our members. 96% of the members overwhelmingly are supporting the resolution. And of those that are actually small business owners because they operate their homes and they sort of rent out the part of their home or their room, they are very overwhelmingly supportive of this resolution. It is culturally embraced because we understand that most of their family members are visiting, and I've heard some of the testimony that was given presently there earlier, and certainly there are always observations on both sides, but there was information that was provided that sort of spoke to without actual data.
Thank you for your testimony. Your time has expired.
Oh, okay.
Thank you
so much.
Maria, if you want to conclude, I think you may be our last person, so we'll
Well, thank you. And I will conclude very quickly. The resolution is positive for the small business owners that are using their homes to subsidize their income. If not, they will be homeless. So we speak about that particular issue. We understand that that's the feeling they have. They're bound to lose their homes. So thank you so much for your time. Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maria. Phil Konisberg, Thomas Gretsch, Obi Benz, Frank Wheats, Mr. Gilbert, Bradford Kiefer, any of those individuals present? Maybe you're named as someone else? Nope. Okay. Anyone else in the room? Do, 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 do. We almost made it out before 6.
What's the name? What's the name?
I think there's one more person interested in testifying. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Usually it's just Austin, Billy, and I. Ben, who's here somewhere. Gerard, maybe. I do when they're sick. But, you know, make it home by bedtime. Okay. Well, seeing no other individuals signed up to testify, either virtually or in person, we will now close this hearing. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you to the members of the administration, the members of the public who have joined us today. This hearing is adjourned.